Good evening, and welcome to the 716 Playbook, where every play counts. It's been so long that I'm trying to make sure that everything is right and put in the right spot, and I'm all ready for the show. And if you've been following along the last couple weeks, it has been very, very tough. We have had some massive technical difficulties that I was not able to figure out what was going on. Thought it was one thing, then I thought it was another thing, and I'm still checking to make sure that there are no more technical difficulties. Between being sick, being on vacation, the draft, and then more technical difficulties, it has been a very long month for this channel. But I think that we have found a solution, and I think we're in a better spot now. If you are so interested to know what the heck was happening behind the scenes, what I was trying to figure out, it kept skipping, it kept dropping connectivity, it just kept going out on me. And I was putting it at lower resolutions and trying to play around with that. Maybe it was the formatting, maybe it was the overlays. There's so much that's going into the show. And I thought maybe my MacBook just can't handle it. And then I had an idea. I have 1,000 different tabs open when I'm doing the show. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe the tabs have something to do with it. So I clear all the tabs. I go and do a test run on Sunday night. And lo and behold, almost no skips. Now look, every once in a while there might be a skip. Maybe words don't catch up as fast or whatever. It happens, technology. We are not running out of an ESPN studio. We are running out of, as you can see, my bedroom. So I appreciate all of your guys' patience. It has been a very long couple of weeks. But I can say with pretty good certainty that we are back. I don't want to jinx it, but I think we're in a lot better of a spot. If it starts skipping out on us or something happens, please let me know. Drop a comment down below and just say, hey, it's kind of skipping on us. It would be very... I'd be very grateful if you did that. Let me know if any connectivity issues, if it's blurry, whatever. We're in a higher resolution than normal too, because now that I know that it's the tabs, I can kick it up a notch with the resolution. So that's pretty cool. So hopefully it's a lot clearer. So now instead of having a bunch of tabs open and reading a bunch of articles and kind of doing research on the go, I have to do all the research beforehand, and there is a lot of typing out that I have to do. But it all allows my notes to be in one spot. I kind of collect my thoughts. If I'm able to type it beforehand, I kind of really know what I want to say, and I kind of get, as I'm typing it out, it kind of helps me. So we should be in a pretty good spot, and we will go from there. So again, welcome to the channel. If you are new, then none of that really made any sense to you, and that's okay. And if you are a reoccurring viewer, I appreciate you coming back, and I'm glad that the frustrating skippingness and dropping out of connectivity and just sudden ends to the live stream didn't turn you away. I appreciate all of you very much, and I'm so happy to be back and doing the show. With all that being said, just make sure that this show is for you guys, so make sure that you guys are commenting and engaging. It means the world, and I will try to get to every comment as possible. So please comment, like this, share it, and make sure you share the channel as well. Make sure you look down below. You can see all those icons. That is where we're at. That's where you can find us. And that is our username down below. So if you're interested if you're on X, or you're on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, plug it down below. Plug in that username. You can find us. I am primarily on X. I run a lot of day-to-day updates on X. But I'm also on Instagram, YouTube. I post my clips as well. And then on top of all that, Threads I'm on. And then Twitch I live stream as well off of. So there's so many different places you can find us. So please make sure that you do that. Again, with all that being said, this is going to be a very relaxed and chill kind of ease back into the show. And moving on for the next couple months, it's going to be a lot shorter of episodes. Okay, there's only so much that I can talk about, and so much news that's going out and what's out there. And personally, I don't want you guys to feel like if there's nobody playing or nothing happening, you guys shouldn't be sitting here for an hour listening to me talk and ramble. So, but again, I appreciate you all for tuning in tonight, and I think it's going to be a really good show. So let's just get right into it. The Buffalo Bandits, the lacrosse team for Buffalo, has made it to the finals in the playoffs. All right. Over the weekend, the Rush, which this is from Saskatchewan in Canada, they played their semifinal games over the weekend. The Bandits have had now a week to rest. They're going to have another week before the first game of the finals. So they're going to have 2 weeks to rest. The Rush are only going to have 1 week to rest. The Rush won their semifinals games, game 1 and 2, just like Buffalo did. They swept their series, and so now the Bandits will be playing the Rush in the finals. The Bandits are going to the finals for the 5th time in a row. They have won the last 2, and they're on their way to a three-peat. Bandits host games 1, 3, and 5, and they have home field advantage over the series. And then the Rush are going to be 2 and 4. Hopefully it doesn't get to 3 and 5. And we knock it out 1 and 2, and it's over. But the Bandits do have the best record. That's why we have home field advantage. We are the best seed. So that is a pretty great advantage to have moving into the finals. Game 1 is on Friday, May 16th in Buffalo. Then we are going to be away on Sunday, May 18th. And then hopefully we don't even need to worry about where Game 3 is, because it should be over. But if there is a Game 3, it'll be back at home on Saturday, May 24th. I really don't want this series to be prolonged into 2 different weekends, and I'd rather them just knock it out over this weekend, obviously. But the last time that these 2 teams played, it was in the regular season, and the Bandits did win. They won 9-7. It was a heavily defensive game, and it was a very exciting game. So it is going to be a very exciting series. Number 1 seed going up against the number 2 seed. No upsets at all. The better seed won in all games. So that tells you exactly where the NLL is at. And there are talks about expansions moving forward. Last time that the Rush were in the finals was 2019, and they did not win. But they did win in 2016 and 2018. So they do have some experience in the finals, and they do have some experience winning, but not a lot of guys that are still on the team anymore. So it'll be interesting to see how the Rush adapt to such pressure, but we'll see. I think they're going to give us a run for our money. I think the Bandits will still come out on top and win. I think they're going to be a three-peat team, just like the Rochester Nighthawks were back in the early 2010s, but we'll see. I don't want to make any predictions, but I think that it's going to probably go to a Game 3. I think we're going to win Game 1. They're going to win Game 2. And I think it's going to come back to home to really pull that out and win. So, but either way, it should be a very exciting series. Probably, it won't be a sweep. If the Bandits sweep, that's great. I don't want the Rush to sweep us, obviously. And I also don't want it to be prolonged too long. So it should make for a pretty exciting series. Now, look, we're going to move on to the Sabres. The draft lottery was last week, and we got pick number 9. We had better odds going into the draft lottery. We had better odds at the first place than the 9th place. But in Buffalo odds, as I like to say, we got the 9th. The odds were literally against us, and we still got the worst pick in this lottery. Not the worst pick, but we actually moved back 2 slots. We will most likely be drafting a forward in the draft, and we will most likely be picking up a defenseman with a pretty strong defensive style in the offseason. We're going to need it. We need defense badly. We need so many things, but one of those things that we desperately need moving forward is a defenseman. But this draft is very forward heavy, so we're probably going to pick up a forward in the first round. But be on the lookout, because we'll probably be picking up a defenseman, probably a veteran defenseman in the offseason. Also be on the lookout for a more experienced or veteran goalie. I know that Luukkonen is on a pretty decently big contract with us, a pretty longer extended contract, and it's worth a good amount of money. But he potentially could be traded away or moved around or released or reevaluated or whatever they might do. He might sit back and be a rotating slot as a goalie, and he might take a cut for his pay if we can bring on a better goalie. I have no idea what they're going to be talking about in upper management. And on the topic of upper management, we have some exciting news in the past couple days. So Kevin Adams, unfortunately, is staying as general manager for the Buffalo Sabres moving into next season. There's a lot of talk about the potential of Kevin Adams moving on and or potentially being shifted to a special position or special role within upper management or within the organization. That is not the case anymore. He's going to stay on as the GM. The Sabres, though, are hiring Eric Stahl, a former NHL center who used to actually play for the Sabres in 2020, but he is being hired to take over a special assistant to the general manager position. So they're creating a position. He is the special assistant to the GM, and his job, when asked about it, was to pretty much do whatever he is needed. He retired back in January of 2025. He has no experience, obviously. It's only been a couple months in any sort of organizational role outside of being a player. He played with Kevin Adams in Carolina years ago when they won the Stanley Cup, and now he's going to be their special assistant. It sounds slightly like he's going to be kind of like an intern. This is just a way to get the foot in the door with upper management. It's great. He knows the organization. He knows Kevin Adams, who he'll be working directly underneath. He's well seasoned in the pool of guys in the NHL and in the organization. And on top of all of that, he is kind of just open to doing whatever he is needed. So it sounds like he's trying to get experience. He was also a captain and a leader on many teams. So he does have like a already built, adapted ability to lead. Again, as an assistant, you're not going to have much of an option or ability to lead. But that's it's still something great to have in upper management to work alongside Kevin Adams, who I ultimately do not like as our general manager. I don't think he does a good job. But Stahl has been elected to be coming on the team in upper management to help evaluate current NHL players for Adams and the Sabres. He will be helpful at bringing in guys, scouting out our needs, scouting out potential pickups and trades, and kind of being that insider help. Adams was given specific instructions from the people above him that he must listen to whatever Stahl is advising him to do, because Stahl is being put there to help him. This is pretty much like kind of a step on Adams a little bit from upper management, and also from our executive board, from the Pagulas. You know, it's kind of this is where we're at. We now need to hire somebody to help you. You better listen to him. Like, he's not just coming on to be like, you're like, oh, you can do this paperwork for me so I don't have to. No. He is stepping into a role primarily because you have not been able to succeed in that role. And we don't want to give up on you. We don't want to get rid of you. But you're on thin ice. And that's exactly how I see this. Not only that, but Adams was also given specific instruction that he must listen to Coach Lindy Ruff. If he says that this is a certain need that we have on the team. This is who we need to release from the team. This is who we need to pick up from the team. This is the position you need to look out for. Any input from either Eric Stahl or Coach Lindy Ruff must be a top priority for Kevin Adams. And this is really just going to put his feet on the coals. This is going to make him work because he's no longer sitting there like, oh, I'm ahead of you. I could, a push of a button, fire you, Lindy. Or I could, I don't need to listen to Eric Stahl. He's here for me. No, this is making it blatantly obvious publicly that Kevin Adams will be serving the advice and the wants and needs of people technically below him, which, again, shares to you where Kevin Adams is within the organization, where he's at as a general manager. I don't know many general managers and organizations that feel the need to have to listen to their assistant. There's some times when like coaches have hierarchy or more say, especially if they've been there long enough. But again, most general managers listen in the first place. That we shouldn't get to this point. Lindy Ruff has been a part of the Sabres organization for so long. He has had so much success with the Sabres organization. when you bring Lindy Ruff back in and he advises you to do something, you do it. This obviously before, Lindy Ruff joined back with us. Within that period of not having Lindy Ruff was when Kevin Adams came on board. So this was the first season that he's ever been a part of a Lindy Ruff organization. And Lindy Ruff he is not a man that's going to sit by. He is going to put your feet on the coals. He's going to make sure that, hey, this is the advice that I need you to do. This is the advice that I'm saying. This is what you should be doing. And you kind of listen. He has so much experience, not only within the organization, but within the NHL, that Kevin Adams, I just don't think he's grasping the reality of where his role is and his respect level at this point within the organization. And the more that I talk about it and see this and read about it, the more that I feel like over the season there might have been some animosity between Lindy Ruff and Kevin Adams, because I guarantee you Lindy did not sit by. I guarantee you Lindy Ruff had many meetings where he said, this is what needs to happen, and it never got done. So now it's being very publicly known that you must listen to Lindy Ruff and your own assistant. So on top of, talking about Coach Lindy Ruff, he has also publicly expressed his displeasure within the last couple months about the sports science and conditioning within the organization. He explained that the lack of conditioning is an explanation of why the Sabres have an amazing first period and then an awful second and third. Lindy Ruff truly believes that this team is amazing, that this team is well put together. It might need a couple pieces, but for the most part should not be where they're at. But because of a lack of conditioning and a lack of the sports science department, we have amazing first periods and then we just die down. So the Sabres hired a new director of performance. His name is Brian Gallivan. If you know him, he worked for the USA hockey team. He does have experience working with Tage Thompson on that team. He has spent 6 years in the U.S. development program, and he worked with former Sabres Josh McCabe in his private practice, conditioning and working out with Josh McCabe while he was a Sabre. Josh McCabe had a lot of success with the Sabres program, primarily because of Brian Gallivan helping and working out Josh McCabe in his private practice. So bringing him on as an official role will very much help the state of conditioning and the entire sports science department overall. So I'm pretty excited for that addition to the team. But that's pretty much primarily it for what's going on with the Sabres so far. There's no big trades or big things happening. We'll probably see that a little bit after the draft. But we're going to now slowly move into the Bills segment. But before we do, we have a food for thought. This is a very interesting food for thought this week. Tua, the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, is 14-8 in his career against AFC East teams, which means that he has won 14 games and lost 8 games within his entire career playing against AFC East teams. And all 8 losses happen to be against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Tua has never been able to beat Josh Allen or the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is like Tua's Patrick Mahomes to Josh Allen. And I think that's great. That's a Bills fan. Don't have the greatest opinion of the Miami Dolphins or the Patriots or the Jets. So I, brushed across that over this weekend. I thought this is definitely going to be the food for thought. So, but yeah, so there you have it. Tua has yet to beat Josh Allen or the Buffalo Bills in his career. You don't believe me? Look it up. All right, now moving on. We're going to transition into the Buffalo Bills segment. It's going to take probably about 15 minutes, maybe 20. Then we're going to wrap it up with some NFL talk, and then that is it for the night. But it is confirmed that week 1, the Buffalo Bills will be hosting the Bengals at home. for Sunday Night Football at 8:20 p.m. on NBC. We don't have an official date yet, but I'm assuming it's probably close to Labor Day or right after. So that's Sunday. I know the year that the Bills played the Jets in New York, the first game with Aaron Rodgers where he got hurt, that was a 9/11 game. So it's around the beginning of September. So somewhere around there is when the start is. There was a lot of rumors floating around. I refuse to talk about it. I talked about it with some family members and some friends, but I refuse to talk about it with the channel because there was no confirmation, but all this stuff floated around that the Bills and the Steelers were going to be playing an international game in Ireland. That has been confirmed to be not true, and has been confirmed now that the Buffalo Bills will not have an international game this season, which means that they're primarily probably going to be pointed towards a Thanksgiving or Christmas Day game. There's Christmas afternoon and Thanksgiving Day. There's still slots open for those games. So most likely the Bills will probably play one of those slots, but they will not be playing in an international game. I'm very happy for that. If you guys want to take a trip down memory lane real quick, 2 seasons ago we played the Jaguars. I think that was like the London game or whatever. We decided to travel on a Friday for a Sunday morning game. It was awful. They were all jet lagged. They didn't get any sleep. They were exhausted, and we ended up losing. I also don't like international games because I don't want to watch the Buffalo Bills at 9 a.m. There you go. Some people go to church, NFL. So maybe push it a little bit, But anyway, that's my official opinion about international games. I just think that there are weird timings depending on where they're going to play this year. I hear Germany and other places are going to be Ireland are going to be thrown out there. I had no idea how the time zone is. I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. to watch the Bills play on a Sunday. That's just out there. So from an NFL fan, maybe change around the international schedule so they're not playing in the middle of the night there. But they can probably play a later night game or something to kind of make it an afternoon game for people in the United States. But yeah, just an idea. Also, the Bills travel the second fewest miles this season out of any other team. The first fewest miles traveled by a team will be the Bengals, and they beat the Bills by almost 2,000 miles. They have maybe a little over 8,000 miles. We have a little over 10,000 miles traveled. The Bengals practically have to go nowhere. They're going to have the least amount of airplane time. The Bills are going to have the second least amount. The Chargers have the most. I believe I read that. Yeah, the Chargers have the most, which is terrible. We have 10,000. They have 37,000 miles. So that's a huge, huge advantage for the Buffalo Bills. We have the 5th easiest schedule because we host most of the better teams at home. And then we play all of the primarily terrible teams away. So we have home field advantage for all the tougher games, and then we can go play the slackers away. So, and we're not traveling that much, so that's even better. All right, we're gonna digest some things though. A couple weeks ago, there was this thing called the NFL Draft. We drafted a couple guys. We're gonna talk about that a little bit right now. Dissect a little bit about their progress so far. From what I've read and what I've seen in videos, wide receiver Caden Prather. He was picked up later in the 7th round. He was our last pick in the draft. He has apparently been turning some heads, and he's been making some great catches in rookie mini camps. Again, I don't think every rookie is going to stick. Not every rookie is going to do the best, right? But apparently Caden Prather is sticking out. He's doing very well. Defensive edge Landon Jackson, who I believe will be the best pick in this draft, the steal. Apparently he is massive and a amazing competitor and a massive presence on this rookies minicamp. So that's really exciting to hear. Blocking tight end, quote unquote, the blocking tight end, Jackson Hawes, who we picked up. He's catching a lot of throws. For a guy who's supposed to be our blocker, he's catching a lot of throws, which raises the question of, will this be the last season for Dalton Kincaid? Could tight end Jackson Hawes potentially, and when I say this, I understand that the likelihood is probably that Jackson Hawes and Kincaid will stay together. And Dawson Knox is probably on his way out. He's getting older. But I raise this because Kincaid did not have a great second year. There were some injuries. There's some stuff going on. Yes. I do really like Kincaid. But I think this season matters a lot to Kincaid. This is now your third year in the league. You no longer have a buffer. You don't have a break anymore. This is it, kid. Like, this is where you're at. You gotta leather meets the road, right? That doesn't sound right at all. This is the season that we're all looking for what you're going to do, what you're going to produce. And I could be completely wrong, and I think I am. I'm just raising the question. Could Jackson Hawes replace a Kincaid? Kincaid needs to beef up. He's scrawny compared to most tight ends. He's definitely not a big blocker. And that raises some concerns. So that's just something that I've been reading on. Also, cornerback Maxwell Harrison, who was our first-round pick out of Kentucky, he's apparently really quick, not just the running, because he is the fastest man in the draft. He is so quick at changing direction, like quickly changing direction. Apparently, he is been out-bodying Dorian Strong, or another cornerback who we picked up in the 6th round. There's been some great competition between them, though. They've been doing really well together. There's a lot of respect, mutual love for each other, but at the same time, they are competing for essentially the quarterback 2 spot. Most likely, Maxwell Harrison is going to get that spot. He's quick, he's fast, he has the agility, the ability, and the quickness. I mean, he embodies that position pretty well. The Bills also claimed a defensive tackle, Casey Rogers, off of the waivers from the Giants. He's probably just a camp body. I'll kind of look out for that a little bit more once training camp starts, but I don't think it's anything to like really talk about. On top of all that, we also picked up D lineman TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, and they're playing very well together. And apparently the two of them mixed with Landon Jackson are just massive, huge guys that are all right now playing on the same line. So they're just, it's from what I've read, they're intimidating, at least looking at it outside perspective, not looking at the playmaking ability, just looking at outside perspective, just physically, they are massive guys. So that's some of the stuff that I can kind of talk about draft wise. On top of all of that, Gabe Davis, former wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, he played for the Jaguars last season. He signed a 2-year deal. He got released from the Jags this offseason. There was a lot of people talking about maybe potentially joining back with the Bills. I didn't think that's a great idea. The Bills' wide receiver room is so massive right now, I don't think it's really needed. But Gabe Davis apparently worked out with the 49ers yesterday. I think that might be a great spot for him. They do need a wide receiver. I think he is a decent wide receiver. A lot of people were like hating on him, and they think he drops a lot of balls. And yes, he probably is. He had a couple really great plays. He's loved by the city of Buffalo. But when it comes down to his ability to actually make moves as a wide receiver, he embodies the transition from the drought to where we're at now, but he is not the guy that's going to help us get there. He's not the guy that's going to help us get the trophy. So in my opinion, I don't think we signed him. I don't think it's great depth that everybody keeps claiming about. We have so many wide receivers. Just focus on who we have and build up from there. Do not continue to add more guys. Bodies doesn't mean anything if they're not good. He used to play for us and he knows. Great. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, great. But the same aspect, I can also play devil's advocate and say, yeah, but his knowledge and his ability are two completely different things. He might know the organization, know the fan base, know the team, know the plays so well, know how to work with Josh Allen. But is he able anymore? Is he the same guy that we saw in 2021 catch that ridiculous pass in Week 1 against the Steelers? He's not. Go watch game film this past season with the Jags. He's not. That's all I have to say. So most likely he's probably going to be picked up by the 49ers, and that's great. I hope they can use him. All right. Buffalo Bills a couple weeks ago signed a new wide receiver, Elijah Moore, and this kid is going to be a shoo-in. Played 2 years with the Jets, 2 years with the Browns. He is a versatile outside route runner. He is known for route running skills and contested catches. Even with bad quarterbacks like Mike White, Zach Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, he was able to scrape up at least 400 yards per season. He was able to outman defenders, make plays, run massive yards, like 60-yard longest in a... I mean, you're talking about 30 to 40 recs per season. And one of those recs, he is the longest yardage in one of those recs, up to 60 yards. He also was able in all 4 seasons to drop the fewest throws that were targeted to him under anybody else on the team. He also gave up $3.4 million guaranteed with the Browns for a $2.5 million guarantee deal with the Bills with a $5 million max with incentives because he wants to win and he wants to play with the quarterback. And in his words, he believes that he will be one of the best wide receivers for us because if what he could do under those bad QBs, imagine what he can do under the MVP. Imagine what this kid can do. He's only 25. He is entering his prime. I think he is going to be a great fit. All right. With all that being said, one more thing before I move on. James Cook. A lot of controversy around James Cook. Running back. A lot of people... What is he going to do? Is he going to sign an extension? Are the Bills going to offer him an extension? How much do they want to extend? James Cook was at a poker night, a celebrity poker night, and he was asked about all of this. And he said, I want to let the business side play itself out. I don't want to get in the way of playing with my teammates or winning the ultimate goal. I appreciate this response from him, but let me get one thing clear. This doesn't just get him out in the clear now. He's not just cleaned up. How he's been reacting to all of this, how he's been engaging with the media the last couple months, to me, is disrespectful. You keep saying, I'll let the business side play itself out, but here you are going on social media and posting $20 million, and this is how much I want. Having your brother do media tours because you think you deserve $15 to $20 million. Even if you did, the discussion is not, does James Cook deserve $15 million? The discussion is, how is he handling it? Is he handling it correctly? Is he bringing more drama onto the team? Is he doing this weird thing where he's not giving a clear answer on whether or not he's going to hold out because of the contract? Because when you say, I'll let the business side play itself out, and I don't want to get in the way of playing with my teammates, that doesn't scream to me, I'm not going to hold out. That just screams to me that you're giving a very diplomatic answer. So there's not much else to that news story. In my opinion, I have said this from the beginning, I do not respect how he's handling this. You should have let this played out in-house. You let your agent talk to the GM and his team, and you let it figure itself out. What you don't do is you don't go on social media, you don't go on live, you don't post things on your story, and you don't do all these things that try to draft up media and hype. Because right now, it's really boring for media in the NFL. They're looking for absolutely anything they can get their hands on, and you know that. So you post 20 million, and that's it on X. And then you know that's going to stir up things. Tyreek Hill does the same thing. Stephon Diggs did the same thing. You are taking this out of the handbook of these guys who have overinflated heads and caused so much drama onto their teams. Do you want to be that, James Cook? Is that the player that you want to be? You're entering your 4th year. Running backs do not have a long shelf life. Respectfully, they don't. And when you are competing in a running back room with 2 able bodies like Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, don't think that the Bills are not quick enough to let you play out your last season and then say goodbye. I do not want to let James Cook go. I would love to see an extension. I love James Cook. But there's also business decisions that have to be made off of the attitude and the way that they are respecting the organization. Because if they're going to do more harm than good, even if that harm is not necessarily in game, that can still affect a lot of things. Stephon Diggs was doing amazing as a wide receiver, or I guess he was doing decent as a wide receiver towards the end. But he was doing so much damage off field that it was affecting on field things. And that could very well be the situation here. So when people get so stirred up about this James Cook controversy, I don't care about how much he's worth. Let that play it out. What I care about is how he is responding to the deal, to the negotiations. He's not handling it properly. That's all I have to say. That's my 2 cents on that. All right. We're going to enter now in the next 10 minutes. We're just going to talk a little bit about some of the news that's going on. It shouldn't even take the next 10 minutes. And then we're going to wrap up and say our goodbyes for the week. But some NFL news, some exciting news to talk about. Cornerback Rasul Douglas, who used to play for the Buffalo Bills for the last 2 seasons, was offered a contract by the Miami Dolphins, but they could not agree on terms. So now he is headed to visit with Seattle, and we'll see what comes out of that visit. Saints fans are upset because quarterback Derek Carr is retiring, and they gave up a chance at landing Shedeur Sanders. In my opinion, he didn't give up that much. But apparently Shedeur Sanders is reportedly doing very well in mini camps with the Browns. I take that at what you will. We'll see how he does in the NFL in games. But apparently right now he's doing very well, and people are speculating that he could be the first quarterback for the team, or he could very well transition to that role pretty quickly. The Jets released veteran kicker Thomas Morstead, which is kind of a surprise for a lot of Jets fans out there. I saw a lot of outcry about that. He is older, so we'll see what kind of comes out. Who's going to be their new kicker? Trey Hendrickson, former player for the Bengals, said that, and pretty much in simple words, the Bengals presented a story between the negotiations, and he has his own story. Right now, they're on a very rocky situation with extensions and contract negotiations, and it's not looking great. The Chiefs tight end, Travis Kelce, who we all know, lost 25 pounds since the Super Bowl. I don't think he understands the position of a tight end, but I don't know why he's losing weight, in my opinion. But if you're going to lose that much weight and you still want to play another season as a tight end, maybe you should have just retired after the Super Bowl, because it makes no sense to enter into another season and you're losing all this weight. And you have a position where you are supposed to be bulking up. If you didn't already hear, George Pickens was traded to the Dallas Cowboys for some draft picks. George Pickens, after the trade, called the Steelers organization cheap. He didn't really elaborate on that, but he called them cheap. Take that what you will. George Pickens will do just fine as a wide receiver running alongside CeeDee Lamb with Dak Prescott. I think he'll do just fine. Travis Hunter is going to be planning to play both offense and defense as a wide receiver and a cornerback for the Jaguars in this upcoming season, and apparently he is impressing many in mini camps. I love Travis Hunter. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great dude, and I think he's going to do just well in the NFL. We'll see how this whole offense-defense thing happens. Maybe the Jags might put up with it, but other teams might not, so that might hinder his ability to play on other teams. Apparently, it's been reported that the Browns and running back Nick Chubb are not expected to be together in 2025, and Nick Chubb is looking for a new place to call home. Former Alabama head coach Nick Saban is urging President Trump to do something about NIL money that is damaging college football. We're not going to get into politics here. We do have a very controversial president, but either way, I'm not taking a stance on the politics, but I do agree that the NIL money situation is kind of ridiculous. There was a quarterback from Texas, the Longhorns. He gave up like $8 million to come join the NFL. Like, he could have made $8 million in college. So there's these contracts that they're offering these kids are enticing them to stay in college and not move up to the pros. I don't necessarily agree with that. If a kid wants to go play in the NFL and he's able to, you should not be able to entice him to stay because of the money. And if you're willing to pay $8 million for this quarterback, not only is he good, but you're telling me that if you're going to spend $8 million, you're probably generating a lot of more money off of him. There's a problem. I like the idea of them making money off image. Okay, if you're selling their jerseys, merchandise, they should get a cut of that. I completely agree with that. I was always on board with that. I'm not a fan of the contracts. If you want to pay their scholarships, you want to give them free food, you want to give them food passes, and whatever else you want to throw in there and do some side deals, whatever. I do not agree with straight up money contracts like Travis Hunter signing at $50 million with Colorado. There's just unnecessary amounts of money being thrown at these kids. They aren't handling it very well. They're obviously a lot of them are blowing it. They don't know how to handle it. They're staying in college longer and getting hurt, and then not able to even perform or play in the NFL. You're hindering people's careers because you want them to stay in college. It's crazy. It's really crazy to me. And I do not necessarily agree with the idea of paying these kids contracts. But I agree that to an extent that they should be making money off their likeness, their image. So maybe contracts in the future should look more like not this much money, but how much percentage are you going to make off the jersey sale? All right, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers are apparently still in the works. And Pittsburgh currently still does not have a quarterback one. Aaron Rodgers is pretty much stringing the Steelers along, and they have no other option. There's not many other quarterbacks for sale or offering. They really can't make it that big of a trade at this point. Nobody's willing to trade one of a quarterback one at this point. And on top of all that, Pittsburgh did not draft a quarterback in the draft. So now they're stuck. And Aaron Rodgers knows that, and he's going to string them along and probably pull out more money from them. So if George Pickens is correct and the Steelers organization is cheap, this is not a cheap move. The Chargers are open to adding wide receiver Keenan Allen back, as deals between Chicago and LA are still pending, and they're still trying to work that all out. The Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill just had his second wrist surgery last week. I don't think it'll impact his ability to play the next season, but that is something to look out for. The Dolphins are interested in trading cornerback Jalen Ramsey, but they refuse to take on guaranteed money to make the trade happen. They refused to pay the guarantee money for the trade. So they want to get rid of this guy, but they offered him way too much money, and now they're stuck with him because they are unwilling to cough up that money. And lastly, the Ravens, if you don't know, released their kicker Justin Tucker. He had some controversy, some allegations. I'm not going to get in the middle of that or talk about it, but you can always look it up. But this release was not surprising to me because the Ravens were the first team to pick a kicker in the draft, and they picked a kicker who can kick 75-yard bombs easily. I saw a video of this kid kicking from the 25-yard line on the other side, and he made it look so easy, and there was no wind-up. It was just like a quick boot. I don't know what boot means, but it sounds impressive. All right. So anyway, guys, that pretty much wraps up the segment and the episode. I appreciate you all being on. Again, please make sure that you follow down below, that you look me up on different platforms, you turn on bell notifications, you like this, repost the video, and make sure that you comment down below. I will try to look as many comments as possible. If you're watching this post live, I appreciate anybody that did watch this and is still here from the beginning, or is watching this live. If you're not, I still appreciate you watching and getting to this point. If you are watching this post live, I appreciate you all for giving me love and support. And I am so glad to be back. There's no more technical difficulties. I can't wait to watch this back, and hopefully we are good, we're in the clear, and we can move forward as a channel. I appreciate you all. I hope you all have an amazing week. I know that you will, and I'm hoping that the Bandits can just kind of end the season this weekend and win both games, not lose both games. I want them to end correctly and win both games and make that three-peat happen. It would be very exciting for the city of Buffalo, and especially NLL. The NLL is growing a lot, so it is very exciting to see a team in the NLL going for a three-peat. I think a lot of eyes are on the NLL. Pat McAfee, who runs a show off ESPN, he has been talking about it a lot more, so I think it is catching some ground. So I am very excited, and I'm excited for the future of the NLL and obviously the future of the Buffalo Bandits. Hopefully they can do it. So, like I always say, I hope you guys all have a great week. I can't wait to see you guys again next Tuesday. Who knows what's going to happen in the next week. But as always, go Bandits, go Sabres, and go Bills.